Hello and welcome back to Project Cherokee. If you've watched me weekend video, which I haven't published yet, on the weekend vlog, you'll know why I've got it in. Because it decided to leak oil all over me drive for, in my opinion, no apparent reason. But again, it just shows you problems develop on their own accord. So what we're doing now, I should explain better. I'll show you up when it's up on the lift. The automatic gearbox sump has developed a little bit of a leak along the edge. So what I'm doing first of all is draining out through the dipstick as much as I can because I don't have a drain plug. So I'm going to measure that out into my measuring jug so that when I come to drop the sump, take the last bit out, we'll be left with the right amount to put back in. But I am going to do some checking exactly how much it should or shouldn't have before I go putting too much in. But there we go, we've drained out with the vacuum suction device as much as I can for now, so I'm going to put this out the way. We'll get it up on the lift and we'll have a look and see what's involved. Right, so as you can see, 2 litres has been removed and we've got it up on the lift, and this has been the problem, but it's been a lot worse than this at home because when it's on my drive it leans back over, so naturally the fluid sits at the back of this sump, and as you can see there's a little bit dropping off there, and if I can shine it just above that lip, you can see just to that leading edge. You can see the fluid sitting, and it's obviously running back to that very corner edge of the sump, dripping onto the exhaust. Obviously it's burning off, but then running and then it's dripping off the exhaust onto me drive. So there's obviously something going on with the seal around this point. So well, first of all, I'm going to go around the edge of it and give it a good clean down with some solvent so we don't get any dirt in it when we're dealing with it. And we'll start taking these off and just see what kind of a carry-on it's going to be to get off. Hopefully nothing too drastic. And what I've actually got some new stuff coming because this is actually perfect for the job. Extra high temperature red instant gasket, up to 300 degrees, which that won't ever get near. But as it states on the can, it says resists transmission fluid, water, oil, blah blah blah. But the only thing is, this can has sat here for, I would say, 2-3 years, and I'm just a little bit worried. Even if it might look okay and function okay, it may not actually have its same properties, and what I don't want to do is chew on taking all that off, cleaning it all off, putting new stuff on, then finding it starts to play up. So what I have got is some new, exactly the same stuff, but it's not the extra high. We don't really need extra high anyways. Just a new fresh can, because like I said, it's like a power one, what you put around, then obviously we'll lift it up into place. So we'll go on now, we'll give that a bit of a clean up, and I'll come back to you once I've cleaned this up. Right, so I've just gone around, and you've got to go in a circular pattern around and just slacken them off by hand. You don't want to go arriving on any kind of guns. They've all come loose nicely, 10mm. Now I'm just going to use the electric ratchet. I'm going to show you as best as I can while I'm working, but there's not a great deal to see because I'm stuck underneath here. So now we're going to drop them all down. That's about 10. I don't know if you can hear us very well, but we'll slacken them all off. I'll keep them in order, but they've all come out okay, so... Noticing there's a bit of fluid starting to leak out of them. I'll come and show you this once I've took a few more off, which I find suspicious because the ones that I'll show you now, I've slackened all the other ones and they're not dripping, yet these ones at this edge are. Now I think that the thread around them hasn't been properly done. I don't know what's going on, why it would be dripping out like that. Plus I've had it drained, so it should be relatively low. So we'll have a look. I'm going to leave one in case the whole thing falls off on my head and fills the floor full of oil. Brilliant, these electric ratchets, absolutely brilliant. Drop one as usual. If this is going to drop like this, I'm for sure I'm going to have to get something down on the floor. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get the oil drainer and I'm going to place it underneath. There we go, I don't know if you can catch that. I've got the oil drainer, just in case the whole pan decides to drop while I'm working. How many have we got left? 2. These have been the problem ones. Yeah, as you can see. Now if that gasket had have been anything, let's... See, this is where I struggle on YouTube, trying to take my gloves off and film, speak all at the same time. Right, so what I was expecting with this was it would have been taking a load of brain and hitting it to get it off. And as you can see, it's dropped already. So I'm going to get these 2 out and we'll drop it down and we'll have a look what we're dealing with. So bear with us, this is very much live. I could put this on, what do you call it, time lapse. But you all see, you want to see more filming. Probably see some mistakes if I drop this and it goes all over it. But it'll be a good laugh, won't it? So, happy days. This does feel rather full. So, I'm actually going to position this a little bit better. So, we'll see what happens here. I'm going to have to keep a hand on it as so, and probably get covered in oil in the process. And this is where the awkward bit becomes, to need to try and get these out. I'm just a bit concerned how much is going to come out here. In fact, I'm going to let this drain for a little bit longer and just see what happens. Yeah. I'm genuinely going to pause this one out because I'm going to need to borrow a hand off someone. Right, so that's it off. As you can see, there's the sump. It just dropped, more or less dropped off, which was surprising. So what I'm going to do now is pour out what's in here and what I've already drawn out into the my little jug. I know that's 2 litres and that's probably touching about 1 litre, it's 3. But I'm a little bit concerned if there's been too much in here, because theoretically the sump, really the fluid should only really be up so the sump's full, and this one was obviously 2 litres above that. I don't know, I'm going to do a bit of research before I put the new fluid in to find out. But there's the filter. I'm going to have a little look into that to see what can be cleaned or if it's worth cleaning, but the oil looks pretty clean to me. So for now, I'm going to get this into the container, get that into the container, make a mark on it, get this oil poured away into the waste oil drum, so I've got a marker to know where we're left off. But I'm a little bit suspicious that it's been maybe too full. I don't know. I'm not that much of an expert. But what I am definitely looking at here around this, where the sealant is, it's not had a very good sealant around these bolt holes. But I'm concerned the fact that when I slackened these off, the fact it started to pour out of the actual, especially in this area here, it started to pour out of the holes. So I'm going to make sure I clean all them holes up. I'm going to have to get plenty of sealant back onto them. But if you look there, it's all flaking off, which isn't good. And you can see here there was just no sealant around that piece there. And when you look on the car, on the gearbox, there's nothing left on that. So in these areas here, there was basically no sealant, nor was there any here. So it's not like it's been left on the car, so poor quality sealant being used. So we'll get this poured out first into a drum and we'll see actually how much has come out. Obviously I've lost a little bit, but it's just minor. Right, so as you can see, I've got what's in the drainer, which I sucked out the dipstick. If I hadn't have done that, that would have been serious bother. The oil would have went everywhere. So we'll get this poured into here and we'll just see how much we've got. Bearing in mind, what's in here is only just to have a marker. Obviously this will be getting cleaned out for the new fluid to go in. So at the same time as doing this, I'm going to attempt to clean that transmission filter. But the fluid, even though it looks a bit dark, it's certainly not bad. Right, so that's that off the drainer. This bit could be a little bit messy. Out the sump, and we'll have a look what's at the bottom of the sump is in. There might be some spill in here, but I really can't help it. I was hoping this wasn't going to be more than just checking for any dirt in here. There's something floating about. No, it's just a bit of see, that's why you don't go over the top of the silicone sealant. I don't think this has been changed for a long time. So there's all my fluid out. We know it's going to be give or take. So how much is that? Let's have a look. I'm just going to rub my hands. I'll bring you down so you can see better on this. Right. I'm just going to mark it with the pen. Mark on, obviously I'm trying to write with the wrong hand, J, just so I don't get mistaken. So I've used it for other jobs. So now I'll bring you down so we can have a look. So this is how much we've getting out. Now we know. I'm going to do a bit more research of how much should come in and out and such like that. So now what we've got here is 3.7 litres. So luckily I've got 5 litres on its way. So now this can just simply get poured away into the waste oil. At least now I know I've marked it with a J, Jeep. That's how much goes back in. Saves all the faffing about. But what I am certainly going to do is ask a few questions and do a few checks beforehand. So now we're going to check to see what's in the sump. It's not too bad. This is the magnetic pickup. And in fairness, that really isn't a great deal. To say this car's done 150,000 miles, it's actually in a lot better condition in here than I was expecting. Bearing in mind I've already put 5 litres of fluid through this. So that is 5 litres of fluid being flushed through. It is still quite black, so I'm pleased I'm doing this. So now I've got a plastic Stanley blade system, which I'll show you. We're going to clean up all this. I'm going to clean it up as best as I can. I'm not going to faff too much, unless that just simply unbolts. I'm not going to faff too much with it. But we'll get all this edge cleaned up. I'll get all that gunk off the magnet, get all this cleaned out, and we'll see where we stand from there. So I'm just going to pause the video now while I get things cleaned up. Right, so this is my little kit that I've got, little plastic Stanley blades which go into these scrapers, and these are great because you can't do any real harm to the metal. But as you can see on here, I've cleaned it all out. That's your magnet, and all these little bits here are just falling. The bit is not really very good. So what we're going to do is just take the scraper out of it, which will just bring it all off, as you can see, like that. I mean, you don't need to sit and watch us do each little bit, but as you get the gist of it. So we're going to crack on, do that, we'll get it cleaned up, and then it's just a case of waiting for the sealant. Right, so we're going to leave it here tonight, because I'm waiting for the sealant to come. Where's my light? I shall show you. Just for now, to get a bit of the deep dirt off this, some oven cleaner. Honestly, it works. I've already got it all cleaned. I've been round the edge with a plastic Stanley knife. All that's clean. I've cleaned the surface on the gearbox. As you can see, all the way around there is lovely. So it's just a case of waiting until tomorrow for the new cleaner to come. For the new sealer to come. I'm going to have a little bit more time on this, give this a bit better clean up, and then we'll be back for the second part of the video. Hello and welcome back to Project Cherokee. Like I've mentioned, there's a bit of a gap in this video. I'm going to do it all as one. I apologise, I had to put the sump on because the sealant come late. As you can see here, we'll switch it round, otherwise everything's in reverse. This came, like I've said, I had the other stuff, the red one, but I wanted some fresh silicone sealant. But like I've said, it's proper RTV. Black instant gasket, up to 260 degrees. And as you can see, it says there, resists transmission fluid, water, oil, blah, blah, blah. Nice fresh stuff I've used. Happy days. So that's gone on. And what it was, the sump, as you see, was sitting there. I cleaned up all the edge. And the stuff come late. So what I wanted to do was on today's Friday, on, when did it come? Wednesday night or Thursday night, I mixed up which one it was. My dad was here, actually need two people, one person to keep it into place and then talk them up. He says, quickly, we'll get this done. I couldn't record, I had silicone on my hands. As you know, when you've got to go around all the little holes, so naturally you go around the outer edge, not the inner edge, so it squirts out, not into the sump, because you don't want to go into the sump. And then obviously around each of the holes where the 10 mils go through. So when you put it on, it causes a sealing ring around it. So that's what we did. You don't really need to watch us do that because the stuff cures quite a bit, because at the minute it's like a summer's day. It's been really warm. So we'll pop that up. As you can see, it's in place there now. And you can see the silicone. Wait, it's not really, it is silicone, but it's proper RTV all the way around. That's exactly how you want it to be, where it just squirts out the edge so you know it's gone in. Like I've said, each one's gone around, and we've gone to each one of these and put them at 10 Newton meters. So that's been left now for probably a day and a half. So that's exactly what I wanted. So now when I'm going to put the oil in, I know that this is QX. You do not want to be putting oil in when this is still not gone off. So that's all done, all round, torqued up. I just wanted to show you that underneath. So now, I've mentioned this on my daily vlog. I'm really paid off. This stuff, not this company's fault. I've got my oil from these. Now, any of yous watching on the Jeep Owners Club and stuff, these Chryslers and Jeeps have to have ATF +4. Now, the reason I've got it out here in the sun is it's really nice and warm now. So, top tip, not so much for automatic transmission fluid, because this stuff stays thin pretty much all of the temperatures, especially when you're dealing with gloopy transmission fluid, like in a manual gearbox and in the differentials and stuff. Leave it out in the sun, because naturally the warmer oil is, the thinner it is, and the easier it's got to go in, because it's got to go in through the dipstick. So if it's like water, it thins in, it runs in a lot quicker than it'll do if it's like treacle. So we'll bring the car down off the lift now, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing. So we've got it down off the lift. We've got the dipstick out of the transmission fluid up there. And obviously now we've got it exposed. So all we're going to do is, I've got my little pack. This is my special bag of transmission fluid kit. Because I do this on all my automatic vehicles that I get, what you've seen across the line when I've been doing the fluid changes. So in here somewhere, when I get my hand in, it's my little funnel. This is a specialist tool, but genuinely saves me a lot of grief. So what I want to be doing is, it's clean because it's been in the bag. Stick it down with the dipstick tube, spin it around so it's sitting in the upright position, like that. Take it down a bit more. Then it tends to want to spin down over because of the curve in the pipe. So we'll leave it like that. Got that. Like I've mentioned, that's been out in the sun. And what we've got here, remember at the beginning of the video, the transmission fluid that come out of the sump and what I strained out of it, we made a mark on here somewhere. Where was it? So I wrote on J for Jeep. There we go. It's come off a little bit, but that was definitely the mark there for the Jeep. That was just above 3.5. Now, while, as you've seen, when the sump was draining, it had to stand, because I didn't have the sealant, overnight for a full night. And this amount of fluid, which is 500 mil, plus a little drop in the bottom. So we're going to have to add 500 mil to what we took out. So if we look what we took out, as I'm walking away from what I need, I'm just going to recheck. I haven't done them marks anywhere else because I see the oil's been running onto it and that's took it off a bit. That was definitely the mark. So I'm going to add 500ml of that. So 500ml of there. To be quite honest, what I'm going to do is just bang in about 4. What's that? 1, 2. I just realised the camera wasn't pointing there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to put in basically 4.4. I'll tell you what I'm going to do to make things easier. I'm going to just bang in 4.5 litres because a lot of it got lost on the floor in that round. A lot of it got lost on the floor. Some of it didn't get captured. So I think we'll just stick in 4.5 and then we'll check it. And then we're going to be sort of on par. But what I might even do is stick in 4 and then just check it out because I don't want to go overfilling it because to chew you may as well slightly underfill it to top it up, which is a lot easier than overfilling it, having to draw stuff out. It's just a waste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get everything set up, top it up, but my dad's due back any minute. So if I start doing this now, it's going to cock things up. So I'm going to actually stop now. You won't know any different on the film. And then come back when I've got plenty of time and I'm going to leave that oil in the sun for a little bit longer to thin it out so it pours down, because I'm telling you, I'm pointing it when it's on my face, I'm telling you, trying to pour 4 litres down there, it'll have me back absolutely killing, because you've got to be bending over, you have to hold 4 litres of flipping fluid, and yes, I know you can put in a litre at a time to make it easier, but I'm just going to try and get the fluid as thin as I can, just to pour, bang it all in one go, and then, when we've done that, I'm going to leave it overnight, and come back and see if there's any oil leaking out before taking it home, putting it on my drive. Now, on an unrelated point, since I'm waiting for my dad now, and there's no point to starting this yet, why I'm peed off. Now, this oil was meant, I got an email on Wednesday saying your item will be delivered on Thursday. Now, I've already gone through on my daily vlog about this, so I've already gone through it. But basically, the oil was meant to be here Thursday, so I thought, champion, get the oil in on Thursday, the stuff's cured, leave it overnight Thursday, come in Friday, if there's no leaks, happy days, take it home on the weekend and use it. Can't do that now, today's Friday, so if I put it in now at 2 o'clock, it's not as long as I want by the time I run it and everything to be 100% sure to take it straight home at, say, 4 o'clock, and then leaks oil all over my drive. So now, as you know, I'm not back here now till Tuesday, so luckily I've got the Mercedes at home to use, but a little bit paid off because the company said it was coming then, while Royal Mail did, and it didn't. So really annoyed at that. So I'll come back there on the next part of the video when we're putting the fluid in, and I'll show you the procedure, working through the gears, getting it up to temperature, and checking that the fluid level is right. There's no exact way with automatic transmission fluids. It all depends on ambient temperature, gearbox temperature, fluid. Hence, the golden rule of mine, the car ran fine beforehand. The fluid that come out was at the right level, so I'm just going to try and work as best as I can to put exactly back in what I took out and go from there. So I'll be back to you soon. Right, so as you can see, it's a glorious day outside. It's touching nearly 18 degrees. This has been standing out in the sun now for 2 or 3 hours. It is really actually hot to the touch now. So we're going to get this up the level like I showed you. That's what come out, 3.8 litres. And 3.8 is actually what it states for a service fill. But since it stood for more than 24 hours, like I've mentioned, 500ml of fluid had actually leaked out, so I'm going to add an extra 500 of that to take it to, what's that, 4.3 litres. Then naturally that's 5 litres. We're going to have enough left in to do the stand-up procedure of running it, cycling it through the gears, getting it up to temperature and seeing where it is on the gauge. So naturally I'm going to pour this into here. You don't really need to see us do that, and then we'll start getting it put in the car, which again, it'll be a long process, but that's the whole point of leaving it outside. The thinner it is, the quicker it goes down, and the less time you're having to stand with a dead arm trying to fill the thing up. So we'll get this filled up, and I'll show you the new fluid next to the old fluid in a bottle, which you've probably already seen, and we'll crack on and get it in. And there we go. There it is, up to the mark. And we've got a little bit left in the can. Actually, we've got a litre left in the can, just under. So there's the new fluid to go in. There's the old fluid. As you can see, big difference. But just remember, I've already put a full one of these. I'll tell a lie. Actually, no. I think 1.5 litres of this went into the transfer box. So it's had 3.5 litres of this already flushed through. And as you can see, it was pretty black what come out. So you do need to flush these through quite a lot. Now what I am going to say with this is these cans, little tip, whether it's engine oil or not, don't pour it like that. Pour them sideways. I swear to God, less mess and they go in twice as quick. So while this is still warm, I'm going to crack on, get it poured in, and then we'll go from there. We'll go through the standard procedure. Oh yes, and I just thought I would add, before anybody says, I do know how an automatic gearbox works. You've got your torque converter, which holds about some daft like 10 litres of fluid. I know that. So when this goes in, if I was to drain this back out again, it would probably be that colour once it's cycled through. So I am just stating this isn't a full drain procedure. It's the most you can get out by dropping the sump. There we go, that's it in. Had to find something to stand on because it just has your back absolutely aching and your arm dead, bending over there, having to keep that upright, pouring that in at the same time. It'd be great to have some kind of a pressure system, which I would imagine professional gearbox places have, where you can just get the amount you need and then just simply forces it, like injects itself down. But unfortunately, you've just got to use the power of gravity, which takes it in. So obviously I put the rag across there to stop any drips going all over the engine. That's it in. Now all we need to do is remove that out. No point in dipping the dipstick because automatics need to be running. So I'm going to start it up, cycle it through the gears, which I'll show you. It's a bit dangerous when it's on the lift, so I'm going to just lift the wheels off the ground in case one of them slips and it flies forward. Cycle it through the gears, come back, and when it's still cold, I'll get the cold reading. Because actually, I'll show you. See on there? Oh, it says cold, the first two dots, and hot, the top two. All I'm going to focus with now, since the car is cold, is that as long as when it's running and being cycled through, that it's between those two dots, then I'm simply just going to leave it to sit all weekend, see if it leaks when I come back, and then we'll get the scanner plugged in, get it up the temperature for the hot, which is sometimes easier said than done, and see where it sits up here in the hot zone. So, to be honest, I might put a little drop more in because I've put in exactly what I've removed, but naturally there's been spillage, there's been bits that haven't been quite there. There's that little bit on the bottle on the bench there, which equates to next to nothing. So yeah, we'll get this tidied up, dipstick back in, and we'll start it up and see what in fact, no, we'll not. We'll take the lift up. In fact, we'll have a look now for some immediate bad news if there's a big pool of oil on the floor, which there isn't, so that's a good sign. But we'll take it up and see if we can see any areas weeping. So here we go, the moment of truth. We'll have a look around. Naturally, there's bits of oil here and there, but that's why we're looking around. The seal, up the back of the exhaust there, to the corner where we had the issue. That leading edge there, nothing. Good up to now, but we'll fire it up. That's when the pressure builds up inside. We'll start it up, run it through the gears, quickly dip it, and that's all I'm doing for today. The rest of it can wait till next week when I can get it up the temperature. You've just got to use the diagnostic equipment. I'm sure it's something like 80 degrees you've got to get the transmission up to, which might be okay in the States or somewhere like that, or somewhere of a warmer climate, but we're here, you kind of get that, so I tend to base it a little bit more on the cold reading. Normally they say that's around 40 degrees, but it doesn't actually state that on this one. So what I'm tend to do is when it's cold, straight up cold, as long as it's within those two dots of the cold, I'm happy with it like that. So we'll get it started up and we'll see what happens. Right, so here we go. Remember with an automatic, you check these with the engine running, you're perfectly fine to leave the dipstick out. Won't do you no harm. We'll start it up, cycle it through the gears, and we'll give it a dip. But like I say, I've got the wheel still off the ground, just in case of any slippage. I don't really want to be slipping the car off the lift. It can be a bit awkward sometimes getting in when we've got stuff in the way. But I need to be in because I need to have my foot firmly on the brake. Oh, easier said than done. Right, so naturally, switch the ignition on. In neutral. I'm still just keeping my foot on the brake. Started. There we go, running. Just going to give it a little bit of time just to let everything circulate through, because it has been sitting dry for quite a while. With foot firmly on the brake, we're just going to take it up to park, cycle it into reverse, into neutral, into drive, second, first, back to second, to drive, to neutral, to reverse, to park, back to neutral, foot off the brake, and we'll go and have a dip. I'm just going to pause it here while I get out the car. Right, that's it being run. It's not up to temperature, but as you can see, I don't know, it's terrible for zooming in. As you can see, it's there within the cold area. But the problem is the car would have been on the lift. The back end is right up high compared to the front. So I ideally want it to be level. But the reason I'm leaving it like this is so I can leave it all weekend, assess the sump, and then what I'm going to do on Tuesday, take it off the ramp, run it around, bring it back in so it's sat flat, then dip it, and you get a much more accurate reading. So really, you've seen what I need to do. There's nothing really much more I need to film. That's all you need to do. Get it when it's cold, check the cold temperature, get it up to temperature. You do need diagnostic equipment to get your gearbox oil temperature reading. But to be quite honest, if you give it don't go on motorway driving because it cools it, because you've got the gearbox cooler. Do about 20 minutes of urban driving, stop and starting at less than 30 miles an hour. For 20 minutes, half an hour, bring it back, and then use that reading as your hot reading. You can sit and faff on with the what you call it, the reading the temperature, but in fairness, for these, that's the better way to do it. So yeah, that's it. I'll leave it there on Project Jeep. There's not a great deal else I need to do. I'm debating whether to leave this on the lift or take it off the lift. I think, like I've said, it's right up high at the back, so I'm not going to take that reading as key what I've got. It may need a little drop or it may need a little bit taken out. So I'll probably leave it now for about an hour, check for any leaks, or for the sake of just leaving it where it is, I'll reassess things on Tuesday. That gives it, Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. Obviously then there's tonight, Friday night. If it's not going to leak then again, naturally I can't test it up the temperature. There's no point in having it running in the garage here while it's on a lift and it's blocked in by another car. So we'll leave it there. That's another little video on Project Jeep. Got a few other things I'm planning on doing with it, if it behaves itself with this leak. As I'm thinking about getting some Team Hecko wind deflectors. This electric folding mirror on the driver's side doesn't electrically fold in, so I'm fancying getting another one of these. Team Hecko wind deflectors, some custom made fit mats, because the ones that are in are, I hate cheap chap mats. And they do my head in, them things. Bloody awful. Get rid of them. Like I've mentioned, the tow bar. There's somebody meant to be getting back to us with a brand new detachable Jeep tow bar. Wouldn't mind getting that fitted. Get rid of this thing. Oh, yes. And the tyre at the front from Stake 4 tyres. I'm just waiting till he can get a hold of one. But it doesn't look good to the eye, but actually for safety reasons, it's perfectly fine. Yes, on this edge here, it's at 1.6 mil, but for the rest of the 3/4 of the tyre, it's well within 1.6 mil. It's just the outer edge where actually it's only this area of tread here that it really counts. So that's the only next thing I'm wanting to do. And let us know, you guys, these wheels, I'm really fancying. I know the original ones are diamond cut and they look absolutely beautiful. That's big money. I'm considering getting these rims dipped, acid stripped and redone properly. Do you think that's a good idea or do you not? Because the car relatively does look good enough nick. There's only a few little scrapes and marks, but the wheels really do let it down. There's a centre cap missing on this one. Like that bubbling and stuff like that. I'm just debating what to do. But I think if I did get them done, what's your thoughts? I don't want black. Looks proper horrible and gangster. I'm not fancying getting silver done, but what I am fancying is getting like a gunmetal grey. Like that Golf out there, it's got the black. I don't like that. In fact, there's a rental out there. I don't think we've even got a car here. I have one not. Yeah, I think these are sort of a gunmetal-y grey kind of colour. Like that. Sort of like a really off dark silver colour. I fancy getting them done like that. By the way, this used to be my car about 5 or 6 years ago. It was super low mileage when I got that. Yeah, so what do you think? What colour? I would really love some of the steel wheels, the modular, whatever you call them, but they're just stupid money. I'd rather just get these reconditioned. But let us know, what colour do you think I should get them done, or if I should at all. And I'll get a centre cap for them. So So yeah, we'll leave Project Jeep there. That's what's coming up in the next few weeks. So please, if you enjoy this, hit the like, leave a comment. That's what I do these for. Bit of interaction. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe. I'll catch you later. Bye.